Okay, at 6:31, we can call the meeting to order. Are you folks all here for projects? Is anyone here as a member of the public? No. Okay, excellent. Hold on just a minute here. Let's get the... Okay. All right. If you have something you'd like to address, or?
Not particularly.
Oh.
I'm taking a natural resources certification course through
Oh.
UNH Cooperative Extension. And they asked that we sit in on a local meeting
Okay.
of sorts, so chose you guys.
Oh, way
Okay,
flattered.
great. Great.
No pressure.
All right. Huh? Yeah. All right, so I guess if that was the limits of our public comment, then we don't have any,
Exhibiting here.
we don't have any hearings, we don't have any appointments. So we can move right to Edgebrook Estates. There's 3 projects here. If you guys want to come up, please sign in if you would. There's three projects here, and one of them is the CUP application, conditional use permit, and which is only before us because. Sure. Thanks, Chris. Is only before us because of its location. We're not here to comment on the permit itself. So, just an FYI for us.
I'll sign it after. Well, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Tom Zajac. I'm a civil engineer with Hayner Swanson and 3 Congress Street in Nashua. Here tonight with Kevin Slattery from Edgebrook Heights LLC, who's the property owner and applicant for the various projects before you here tonight. Bob Simons from SMC Management may also pop in at some point tonight. I'm not sure if he's going to make it or not. SMC Management is going to be developing the first phase of the project, the residential project. So if another gentleman joins us, that's Bob. We're here tonight seeking your feedback and recommendation to the planning board on the subdivision and site plan associated with the first phase of the Edgebrook Heights project.
Do you know when you're going in front of the planning board next?
We are in front of the planning board tomorrow night for the CUP portion only.
Okay.
And then we're before the board on December 4th, their next meeting, for the site plan and subdivision for the first time.
December 4th, you said?
Yes. So you won't need to stay up late tonight. Yeah, and I did want to seek clarification from staff, just that they weren't waiting for any sort of feedback on the CUP specifically from you folks. So just like to provide you with a brief overview of the project, discuss a couple key elements that I know you'll be most interested in, and then be happy to answer any questions you have, as well as if I can't answer any questions, I may call Kevin up to help me out. Okay, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with this site. I know it did not come before you a few years ago, but the overall site measures about 36 acres, as shown on this plan here. We are in the I-1 industrial zone, and it's comprised of 5 existing lots as it exists today. The property is abutted by the former Nashua Corp industrial property to the north. You have the Boston, Maine Railroad, Merrimack River, and Pennachuck Brook to the east. There's undeveloped DOT-owned land to the south. And then, of course, you have Daniel Webster Highway to the west with a number of mixed uses along this corridor. Those mixed uses, as I mentioned, former Nashua Corp property, the new Pennachuck distribution facility, which is further south down the road. There's a number of commercial uses, including the Harris Pond offices Dunkin' Donuts, there's a restaurant, and some boat and car dealerships. There are also a number of residential uses along this corridor, including Harris Pond, Bowers Landing, and a manufactured housing project further north. Even though the site's very visible from DW Highway, I'd just like to point out a couple existing features of the property. The property contains about 1,600 linear feet as you move across Daniel Webster Highway. The upper portion of the site, or the westerly portion, is relatively flat. There is about a 50 to 60 foot grade change, mostly in the middle of the site as you work your way east towards Pennachuck Brook. The majority of the site is wooded. This photo, I think, was taken in the wintertime, so looks a little less wooded than it would at other times of the years. Except for the northerly part of the site, there's an existing parking lot that you can see right in the north area there, and there's a former ball field that looks like it's starting to grow in a little bit. The Pennachuck Brook defines the property in the southeast corner. There's a 100-year floodplain associated with the top of bank that is located on the site. Utilities are available in Daniel Webster Highway or on site: sewer, water, gas, telephone, electric utilities, and the site contains mostly sandy soils. The property is located within the town's Aquifer Protection District, which is why I'm here before you tonight. And there is a portion that's located within DES's protected shoreland associated with both the Merrimack River and Pennachuck Brook. The board may recall that in 2014, our office was involved in a conditional use permit upon this site. At the time, it was the first CUP application to go through the planning board process here in Merrimack. There have been since other projects that have gone through this process here in town. The Flatley project, the Merrimack Park Place, or the second phase of the outlets. For many reasons, the project did not move forward into the subsequent subdivision and site plan phases, and the CUP approval has since lapsed. So the conditional use permit is essentially a master plan. Okay. So this is the CUP master plan, the latest master plan that we're seeking approval before the planning board tomorrow night. So it's a mixed-use development upon 4 developable lots. There's commercial uses in the north and the central part of the site, and then residential uses in the central and southerly portion of the site. Overall, we feel like the current plan is an improvement compared with the 2014 plan. We have 4 developable lots instead of 5. There's an elderly housing use instead of assisted living. But most importantly for you folks, there's 3 multifamily buildings associated with the residential portion of the project instead of 5, which was on the previous CUP plan. So by being more compact with our development, we're providing better buffers and open space for this project. So I'd just like to quickly walk through the elements of this CUP plan. Again, it's a master plan. We're going to be coming forward with only a subdivision and site plan for the first phase, which is before you tonight, but I figured we'd walk through the different elements to kind of familiarize you with the site and possible future applications. So again, the plan that is here, the master concept plan. So we've got a 400-foot entrance drive here that will tie into the existing signalized intersection with DW Highway and Harris Pond Drive. Right now, that's only a 3-legged intersection, so we'd be adding an entrance drive to that roundabout circle. It's going to be a private street that's under common ownership by these lots.
Is there already a curb cut there?
There is a curb cut there, yes. And the private street was something that was requested by Public Works. So these future lots will share in the common ownership and maintenance of these future lots. The first lot, Lot A to the north, right now we're showing a 20,000 square foot multi-tenanted commercial building, about 115 parking spaces, loading to the rear. It has the ability to access an existing curb cut off of the northerly site drive there, but the final design of that will be evaluated at the time of site plan review. The second lot, which is Lot B here, is about a 2-acre lot, and we're showing about a 4,000 square foot gas mini mart and car wash there on that site, about 12 gas pumps, parking, and that would access via the new private street known as Benning Court. Lot C, which is tucked to the east of the entrance drive, we're showing two one-story multi-tenant commercial spaces totaling about 15,000 square feet, with parking again accessed off that common entrance drive. We see that being a multi-tenant space that would be geared towards small businesses, professional service offices, kind of some support uses on the site. And the biggest parcel is Lot D, as shown on the concept plan. It's 26.5 acres, and it wraps around. It starts off of the entrance drive, Benning Court, works to the south and wraps around. We're proposing a 232-unit multifamily residential project upon that lot. The first phase of the project and the subject site plan is before you tonight. So that's the first piece. It's the master plan. It's the CUP. We're seeking approval before the board, before the planning board tomorrow night. It's very similar to a plan that was approved by the planning board in 2014. The second piece of the project is the subdivision plan. Which is not very exciting. It's essentially the land plan that sets up the development lots, as shown on the CUP. So we're consolidating a number of existing lots, 5 lots, and then subdividing back to create those 4 development lots, as well as cleaning up a number of existing easements on the parcel. The existing open space lot, you'll notice, we own a lot, a half-acre lot on the other side of the railroad. That's not part of the site plan application and is going to remain as is. And there's no physical improvements associated with the application.
Is access to that over the railroad tracks?
Correct, yes. It was created when the railroad came through and bisected that original piece. So this,
Is there any deeded crossing of the railroad? Or is it just
I don't believe so.
whatever foot traffic happens to people, which
Correct.
just happen to walk over?
Correct. We're not aware of any formal easements or anything in place there.
Looks like the stream flows in by there.
Oh, it's gotta go under it.
So the third portion of the project is the site plan, which is the big 35 sheet set that you folks got. It's going to be known as Map 1E Lot 4-1. Again, that lines up with Lot D as shown on the CUP plan. As I mentioned, it's over 26 acres, and it's going to be the first phase of the Edgebrook project. So as discussed, there's going to be a new entrance drive, a boulevarded entrance drive known as Benning Court, with a cul-de-sac turnaround at the end. Again, it's going to be a private drive. It's going to have utility infrastructure that is not only going to service this first phase of the project, but also the subsequent phases and future development. I can really break up the site into 2 pieces. You've got kind of the upper portion that straddles Daniel Webster Highway, and then, as you can see, there's a long private drive known as Pioneer Way that's going to wrap around down to the lower section of the site. So in the upper portion, which is Building 1, is going to be a multifamily residential building that's going to be age-restricted or elderly housing for that first building. So it's a 4-story, 76-unit building. It's got about a 50-50 mix of 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. There's a total of 116 parking spaces. 72 of those spaces are surface parking spaces, and there's another 44 spaces that are on the lower level of the parking garage. Access is going to be provided off both private streets, Benning Court and Pioneer Way.
Is that parking subterranean or is it on grade?
It's almost a walkout, so there's some a change in topography. So on the upper side here, you'll enter on the first floor level.
Yeah.
And this will be on the lower level here, so that will be all exposed. It's essentially a walkout style. So we're trying to take advantage of the topography and throughout the site to have those varying building elevations. The lower portion of the site, buildings 2, 3, and 4, are your standard multifamily apartment buildings, 156 units total. There's 61 bedroom units and 96 two-bedroom units. A total of 287 parking spaces are provided, which is about 1.84 per spaces per unit.
So those are not age restricted?
Those are not age restricted, correct. Again, 200-plus surface parking spaces, and then each of those buildings has 26 parking spaces underneath. So again, we're trying to reduce our impervious footprint on the site as best we can. As I mentioned, the private street is about 1,800 feet. There's a roundabout circle provided at the end in the northeast corner of the site for emergency vehicles and bus turnarounds. There is a clubhouse building and patio area, which is located in the southwest portion of the site, right here. And in the northeast portion of the site, we're showing a fenced dog park area in that open space. And as you can see, there's sidewalk and pedestrian connectivity located throughout the site. So a couple key elements that I wanted to talk about. First is, protection of natural resources and wooded buffers. So our goal was to have a compact design, compact footprint to minimize land disturbance and impacts to the existing wooded buffer. You can see we're fully away from Pennachuck Brook and its associated wetlands and wetland buffers. As I mentioned, there's a considerable increase in the open space compared with the previous CUP plan approved by the town in 2014. It's because we took 5 buildings and went to 3 with the same number of units. And we're also seeking to reduce the amount of impervious by limiting parking spaces. So I'm sure you guys have heard in town the multifamily requirement is 2.6 spaces per unit. We find this to be very high. Usually it's around 1.75, so we'll be seeking some relief from the planning board for that. Again, more parking means more runoff. Snow maintenance, salt use, fertilizer use. I know the town has some typical recommendations regarding those items. You'll find those notes on our site plan to comply. The Green Snow Pro program for winter maintenance. Snow storage areas are not shown on the plan right now, but they will be. And what we've heard is folks would like those to drain to stormwater practices and not be located on the perimeter of the site. So we'll be incorporating those into our next round of plans. We've also noted that the fertilizers shall be no phosphate, slow-release nitrogen fertilizers.
I thought I saw some 10-10-10 in there.
Was there reference to that?
Yeah. Right somewhere. I think it was for the.
It may have.
beds.
What's that?
The planting beds?
Yeah. It's in there somewhere.
That's the electronic copy I had, I couldn't read very well. That was,
I can look to see where that is. That's kind of a standard note that sometimes slips through. And then lastly, stormwater. So
page 29.
we look at the quality and quantity of stormwater for any site. Quantity we don't believe is an issue here with the river right next door to us. favorable soil conditions for recharge located throughout the site, so deep sandy soils. So our goal was to break up these drainage areas into small watersheds and use low-impact design practices wherever we can to promote recharge throughout the site. We do have a number of low spots and basins located throughout the site. There's 2 rain gardens that are located throughout the upper portions of the site, and then there's 2 infiltration basins located in the lower portions of the site. Those are for large storm events that we have to design for, the 50-year storm, the Noah's Ark flood. And those are going to ultimately discharge in a controlled manner into the brook. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the project.
That 10-10-10 is page 31 and 32, or the second set. Planting materials and topsoils and additives on page 32. But I think it's for the ground covers and,
Yep.
yeah,
I'll make sure that those get changed.
flower beds. Thanks.
There's also, there's a couple places where it seems to give you that second number too, which is in that same paragraph of fertilizer, there's a 14, 14, 14, so you did reference it correctly, in the general notes, page 15. So if they could all follow that would be ideal.
Looks like those are on the landscaping plan, so
Yeah.
make sure to clean those up.
The planting list, is there a way we can get a copy of that, or it's a little illegible on here? It's on 31, I believe. 30, what is it, 30?
29?
No, 29, there you go, yeah.
I'm comparing it now to the left.
X-ray, you get,
Need stronger glasses.
yeah. Because even in the electronic copy of this that we have doesn't blow up very well.
Okay,
So if there's just, if we could just get a
sure, no
better-
problem.
either better version of the PDF or the-
You guys were given a copy of the PDF?
You're right, but it looks like someone scanned it. It looks like someone copied it in.
Okay,
So it was just very, at least my copy was pretty difficult to blow up and read.
no problem.
Is there a sewer easement running through the middle of this property?
There is, yes.
Can you show us in the final plan about where that is? So it's going under your parking lots then, basically?
Yeah, we're gonna be seeking to extinguish that public sewer easement.
You mean remove it? you mean?
Yes, correct.
I
yeah.
see.
What's it serve now?
We were the northerly leg of that. I think it was intended to service this and other parcels here. It runs to an easement that follows the railroad tracks behind the former Nashua Court building. So in 2014, that was our plan. We were gonna sewer through that easement, through that existing public easement, up to the treatment plant. And now that's no longer the case. We've gotta come up the hill with a private pump station. We'll be tying in. You can see our road disturbance down just north of where it says Daniel. We're gonna be coming across and tying in. There's an existing sewer main on the other side of Daniel Webster Highway.
That's kind of what I thought, because I saw all the all the showing of the pump and everything else, and I'm going, they
Yes.
gotta be pumping sewer, cause it
Yes.
looked big, so, okay. All right. Any other easements that you're removing?
There are a number of existing easements. Like I said, this was 5 parcels before, so there was cross-access and utility easements that existed between the various parcels and various rights to drain from one parcel through the other.
Yeah.
But those will be discontinued or extinguished.
So how are you dealing with the water on roofs and stuff like that? Are you collecting
Yep.
it?
Yep, so, the majority of the roof is flat. It's got some architectural features that, the front is pitched, so those portions will flow onto the site, crushed stone, dripped edges, and, but the majority of the roof is flat, so we've got a number of roof drain services for each building, that will pick up and convey that water depending on where it is, either directly to a treatment practice right there next to it, or into the on-site drainage system to drain downstream into another, treatment practice, so.
Okay. So all in-road storm water all goes to a treatment facility of some sort?
Correct, yes. Yep.
All right, so you'll have berms and things like that to control the water?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Can you just reinforce turf fire lane? What's reinforced turf?
So it's another attempt to reduce our footprint in
Yeah.
terms of impervious. The fire department, the fire marshal, I met with him about access behind all these buildings. That was very important, but we wanted to lessen that look and feel of, we didn't want a 20-foot paved, asphalt walkway behind there. So our current proposal is to use reinforced turf pavers. So they're plastic, kind of a geogrid looking paver where certain sand and soil are used and grass grows up through there. So we still have some work to do with the fire marshal to provide some evidence on how that's going to hold up under winter conditions. And we're working on that with him.
I would imagine you'd be plowing that then as
Yes,
well?
yes, yeah.
Just like the concept of reinforced turf.
Yeah.
It's like, what's this?
So you've left a lot of open space over near the dog park, or I should say, I guess, west of the dog park. Was there any reason for that in particular? Was there?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the CUP approval in 2014, the abutters, the National Corp there, former National Corp property, were opposed to the project, and there was, has since been a private third-party settlement agreement between those properties and my client, which the town is aware of. And so there are various scenarios that are outlined in that settlement agreement that have resulting buffers and fences, and so that's why we've pulled back considerably. If you looked at that plan, there was building and parking tucked up much closer to that property line. So we are trying to maintain, there's a nice wooded buffer in there.
Yeah,
We're trying to maintain that.
cool.
Does any of those agreements restrict paths or trails in this area? Do you know?
I don't know that. Are you talking that open space?
Recreational, passive recreational trails, walking trails, things like that, we get a lot of foot traffic along the,
I think, so that settlement agreement will govern somewhat that buffer closest to that property, but it won't govern the whole property. We're talking about trails of the whole.
over on page 24, you've got the dumpster pad detail. Is the dumpster, where there's gonna be dumpsters, multiple sites?
Yep.
Multiple locations?
Yep.
Are those all, the individual pad details, are those dumpster pads bermed to flow, make sure all flow is towards a
Yep, all those,
treatment,
yep,
treatment area.
all those areas, so there's a number of dumpster pads located throughout the site, and if you look at the grading plan, all those pitch back into the parking lot as opposed to away, so
Okay.
any runoff associated with those would flow back into the closed drainage system and into our stormwater areas.
No, it looks well thought out.
Yeah.
A number of stormwater treatment areas. I see that outflows are rip-wrapped and everything else, so. So,
Lots of references to our, kind of our standard
yeah,
issues, so.
yeah, well, it's nice to see that in the plans.
Yeah, we appreciate the effort.
Yeah. Are you anticipating any blasting to make room for these buildings or anything like that?
We're not, no.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine you would put that close to the river. It's gotta be pretty sandy as you
Yeah,
talk about.
very deep sands, yeah.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
So there's gonna be another site plan that's gonna show snow storage, and is that something that will come back? We'll get to see another copy of that, or is that, this is your one pass at us?
This is probably my one pass at you, so, it should have been on this pass of the plans. So right now, the plans are under review by town staff and the peer review consultant, so we'll be first before the board on December 4th.
Okay.
My guess is that might not be our only meeting with them, so.
that's a good guess, I'm sure. When you have a stormwater management plan together, can you just have a courtesy copy delivered to the Conservation Commission through the office downstairs?
Okay. The copy of that was, you mean the drainage calculations in the
Yeah.
report? Yeah. So a copy of that was submitted,
It was, okay, all
Yep.
right.
so.
Yeah, because we didn't get it, so Gage, if you don't mind just asking them to at least forward the summary.
Yep.
So,
Usually they ask for one copy to be provided
yeah,
as part of your submittal. You didn't get that?
yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
I know the town's engineering firm will look at all that anyway.
Sure,
but-
sure. We also have DES AOT and Shoreland who also
Yeah.
look through the stormwater calculations as well, so.
So I take it you're not expecting the actual, there's no wetland impacts?
No
anyway?
wetland
Yeah.
or wetland buffer.
Yeah, right, that's what I thought, okay. And I thought you said that anyway, so,
Yeah.
all right.
That was August of this year, right, that you guys did the delineation?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another thing we like to look for.
Yeah, we reflagged it because the previous flagging was more than 5 years out, so.
Yeah.
I did see, the filtration, they were referencing straw, not hay, so, which is, again, thank you.
Yeah, especially when you're that close to the brook and stuff like that. Seeds and whatever could end up down in Lowell. Or wherever else, so. No, I think
Yeah.
they've covered all the bases, yeah.
Pete, Gina, yes, any more questions, nothing, all set? All right, well, we will, thank you. We will, we'll work at getting the comments to the planning board, one for tomorrow night and also for December 4th. But, yeah, two things, or one thing, I guess, if you could get, well, two things, the snow storage, when you guys decide on snow storage, we'd love to have a courtesy copy sent.
Sure.
And again, I'd like to, if you could get a copy of the planting plan. That's just a little bit more, doesn't have to be formalized, just,
Yep.
you know, whatever PDF or Excel, it doesn't matter.
Will do.
Do you want any of the extra copies, or
I don't.
you don't need them for anything else?
You're not gonna reuse them or study them or? No, I'm all set.
I could make many uses for them.
I would just recycle them. Thank you.
Thank you. You signed in, right?
I did, yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, I was looking for the sheet.
That was up there. Get going on this stuff. There's so much. All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right, we don't really have any new business. We have, wasn't really sure where to put that, you know, the LSIP walk and the Scholar Workday, because it's, although we haven't done it yet, we already talked about it, so it wasn't really new business or old business, kind of take your pick.
Yeah.
We just, so, we can, what wasn't part of the plan, what wasn't part of our packets was the email that Sharon had sent out that had all of the Home Depot, the Home Depot assessment for their salt storage. I don't know if everyone had a chance to review that and wants to comment on it tonight, or would like to get back to them for the simple fact that it's already November and we could have snow flying. I know that's a bad word, but
It's a 4-letter word.
yeah, 4-letter word. I mean, we meet again on the 19th. So if we push this off, you know, we really have to have it done. We really have to have it done on the 19th so they can make their plans. Things we asked them for, there were some monitoring wells around that site that they were using during construction, but they've since construction that's not been monitored, so we don't really have a baseline. I'm sure that we could try to find some of that information. We were asking them originally to monitor those wells for baseline purposes, so if there was a salt, you know, any kind of salt or some de-icing compound, we could at least start picking it up and seeing where it was. I'm assuming that we'd rather push this off to the 19th.
I'd like a chance to.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to go through it all.
Yeah.
I was away for part of the weekend and stuff, so.
Okay, so we'll push that to the 19th. And I guess I could resend that out, we'll make it a packet, but just, that's gonna have to, it is something that they have to go up and get the plan reviewed up in front of the planning board. They're gonna have to get the site plan changed, because it's the limitations that they have are on their site plan. So it is something that they have to get, in front of the planning board, I'm assuming, or that or zoning, I'm not sure who. But they're gonna need some time to get that done before they need to start doing snow removal, so.
So, did you see anything that concerned you?
Well, we asked for a plan, and, you know, a storage plan, for salt and the icing compound, and they sent back basically an email saying, okay, well, we'll do this. And, you know, we asked them to go with their contractor and have a plan developed that you could put as part of the site document, and saying, okay, this is how we're gonna handle salt storage and snow removal. That sits in a pretty sensitive area for us. So their original plan, you know, we've already told them that we're gonna allow the new pressure treated lumber outside, because it's no longer force fed with some of the chemicals. They've changed the chemical formulation, so it now can be stored outside. The salt storage was the one that was concerning, because it's, you know, once you get a salt leak, it's hard to get rid of salt.
They're still planning on storing salt on?
Well,
Site?
they'd like to. Their site plan right now says sand only, and they've had a number of issues with sand only.
Yeah.
You know, people slip, trips and falls, and they're looking for some relief from that. I mean,
It would be too much to not have it on site, like, you can't just take it in on the truck, obviously.
sure, I mean, well, the trouble is, they use so much of it,
Yeah,
for a site that size.
yeah, it's a huge parking lot.
Yeah.
What's interesting is a lot of places have their, parking lot maintenance who bring the salt in,
Yep.
so are they doing their own?
They don't use any salt.
Okay.
Not right, not
No,
currently.
right, currently, they don't.
They're not allowed to.
I guess,
Yeah.
but my question is, are they doing their own plowing, or they have a?
They have a company.
Okay, so I'm surprised the company doesn't have the salt stored at their site and just bring it in with the sander and salter.
Well, they can.
Yeah.
That site, they're right now on their site plan,
Yeah.
and per approval, they're not allowed to use salt in that area because of its
So
because
they're
of its
just
proximity to the wells.
All right, because, well, I guess I heard storage, so
Well-
salt storage.
Right, so we asked them to come up with a plan
Okay,
for using salt on site. And one of their, will store a limited amount of sand salt mix that we can have, our employees use when they need to go out and, dust in front of a doorway or on the loading dock or something like that, which doesn't require the snow removal company to come up and do some work. So there's two issues there, is one, allowing salt on site or some de-icing compound, and two, having some type of storage so they can mitigate some of the issues themselves,
got you.
so.
They were having problems with just using no salt at all.
Hmm.
They were having, the
Yeah.
right safety problems.
I can see that.
Yeah, although last year was pretty icy.
Right,
I mean,
yeah, last year was, the perfect storm. Last year was the time that they really had an issue. They had a number of slips, trips and falls, and
mm,
they were looking for some ability to have relief from that, so.
mm. I mean, I work in the area at another company, and we don't use salt in the parking lot. They use it like on some sidewalks. But obviously the concern, it's all gonna wash down that hill right into
Yeah.
everything.
So, all right, we can, what Sharon sent out is pretty much what we have for the notes on that issue. We can try to see if we can if there's anything more. But we, please be prepared to deal with it on the 19th. All right. Now, we're cruising along tonight. It's good, you picked a good night to come. Is Gina on the phone, or is she?
I can hear her talking.
Yeah, I don't wanna,
She's talking with that gentleman.
oh, okay, I don't wanna go through too much stuff without having her here, but, do we wanna move the subcommittee updates down a little bit so she can join in when she's done? The other business on there was the LSIP survey, the Wasserman Conservation Area. We have a date set up,
Yeah. Saturday.
Saturday,
9 AM?
9 AM. You have communicated with,
I communicated with the neighbors. They would like us to visit them first thing, so probably about 9:15.
Okay.
So,
where are we meeting them?
in their backyard.
So, but we'll meet in the parking lot first.
Let's just say, so we're gonna go to the parking lot and
Yeah.
walk over there?
Yeah, I
Or are we
was
gonna
thinking-
go to the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac?
I was thinking we would park in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's simpler.
Okay.
We can,
Yeah, it's easier to start and end there,
right.
so, okay,
Yep.
good. All right. So, perfect.
So
And-
everyone know where we're gonna meet?
Wasserman parking lot.
Yeah, the one behind the rec build,
Down the hill, go to
The
the
main
left.
one,
yeah,
yeah.
go to the
It's
left,
it's the main.
Yeah, I was gonna call it, you can't call it the rec building, but it's the building where the Parks and Rec director is during the summer, so, the little building there, so.
He's not in there during the winter because it's so damn cold.
That's right. Oh, yeah, that building is,
It needs some help.
yeah. So we'll meet up at 9 o'clock and we'll take a little walk along the edge of the property and walk over to where Yeah, go across the bridge, the dam for Natticook Lake, and we'll meet up, so. When I saw the weather this morning, they said Saturday was gonna be kinda cool, like 43 for a high, so you can imagine it's gonna be
Was
probably,
last year
it'll
too.
be probably close to 30 when we go out there, so.
It couldn't have been any warmer than that last year.
Yeah,
Right.
it was cold last year.
Yeah.
It's right around the same time.
And the ticks are still out.
Oh, yes, ticks are still out, yeah, definitely, so. It is technically hunting season, even though there's no hunting allowed. Choose to wear your orange if you want to be sure.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Paint a bullseye on my dog.
We talked about doing some maintenance there. Should we bring anything, any equipment?
Now, I mean, probably not. I mean, I will bring my little handsaw with me. So if you've got something that's easily carried, you might want to, in case we stumble across something, but we're not actually gonna go there for maintenance. So once a year, we're supposed to walk our property, observe what's been going on, note changes. If people have infringed on our property lines or anything like that, then deal with those kinds of things. Take pictures along the way. The idea is to cover as much of the property as possible. So we tend to walk the outside and then through a few different spots, so I'll set up my GPS tracker, like the report I sent out, I think showed our track, where we went on with the boundary lines and put on top of it, so,
And we have good maps for it too, so.
yeah, so yeah, I guess the other thing is, you know, if you like, you know, bring a map of the property, of the trails with you, so you'll know what trail you're on, in case you're curious. So that way, if you want to go back with family later or something like that, you can. So I think it's a pretty interesting property, so it's certainly underutilized, so.
Get to check out our burning bush and
That's
Burning
right, our burning bush sanctuary, because
Yeah.
it's being left alone, but
Oh,
it's we probably have 4 or 5 acres of burning bush with stalks, you know, this big. I've never seen such a big burning bush, out in the middle of nowhere.
The first time we came across it,
By the
we
water.
couldn't figure out what it was, because like, what is it? And because it was just, you're used to seeing, you know, the branches, you know, this size of the winged branches this side, and you're looking at these things size of your arm, you're like, what is that? And you just kind of step back, like, oh my gosh, that's a big burning bush.
Yes, oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
but-
It's beautiful.
so they line the stream that feeds down
Yeah.
from Natticook Road down to Green Pond.
Green pond.
And basically, it probably some sort of seed got in the brook and washed its way down and settled on the side and started growing. And then it flowered and had berries, and the birds deposited some more, and it grew, and now we've got, you know, 4 to 5 acres of it.
It must have happened a very long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
back before we knew, so 22 years ago, we planted one burning bush, and it's still just one burning bush, so.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God, it's-
apologize, are we on LSIP, or are we still on subcommittee updates?
No, we skipped over that for a moment.
Okay,
I want to do that without you here.
thank you.
I just discovered another one in my yard that I had looked at before and thought it wasn't burning bush. But now that there's berries on it, I was able to compare the berries. But the leaves look a little different. So I don't know if it's a hybrid or, you know, that's not good. But obviously I'm not going
Propagate
to
like
cut it down
crazy.
right now because the berries are on there. But
Well, it's not so much the bush itself that's invasive, it's the fact that the birds eat it and redeposit the seeds, and it grows so easily.
right, yes.
So the bush itself will stay contained, and you know, it doesn't reroot, and
Right,
Right.
not that way, but yeah.
Do they all make berries, or just some of them make berries?
I don't know.
I mean, I know like isn't it with holly that,
Yeah, there's a male-female
Yeah.
plant that, yeah, but I don't know if that's true with the,
okay,
With the
I've
burning
never
bush.
noticed berries on ours.
Oh, really?
oh, yeah, they're there.
Oh,
They're
look
small.
now.
You don't really see them.
The little red berries.
They're not obvious.
Okay, I'll
But
look.
Yeah, the other thing about them is, if there are berries that have fallen on the ground in past years, if you pull the plant out and disturb enough soil, you could actually plant seeds while you're trying to pull the plant out.
Oh, dear.
oh, jeez.
So,
Yeah, pull it in the spring.
yeah, so, Yeah, but you have to get the whole plant, because it'll come back.
Yep.
So, which is why we haven't even attempted to touch
Yeah.
ours, because
Be-
herbicides and pulling would never get them all. Just wouldn't do it. So,
It's a lost cause in that area.
at this point it is, yeah. So, but it could be a great project for someone going to the cooperative extension to teach us how to get rid of the plant.
Oh, that's,
Fair warning to any Life Scouts coming in. It's like, you want a project?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
like,
So,
that's a lifetime project.
Yeah, lifetime.
We actually have a number of invasions from burning bush around Horse Hill as well. We've got a couple of 1 or 2 acre invasions of burning bush too. So,
Oh, I'm not surprised. 20 years ago, it was a popular landscape plant and sold everywhere.
yep.
You get it in front of the supermarket.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. My mother was telling me that Paul Parent, who used to do this thing on the radio and talk about plants and all that stuff, had said, I've yet to see a burning bush invasion. I don't know why it's an invasive species. When I heard that from my mom, I said, I gotta take a whole bunch of pictures and send it to him, but it's now his son doing it. He's passed, but yeah, just to show him what a invasion of, how invasive it can really be, so.
all right, so 9 o'clock in the town parking lot, at the end of the parking lot there by the trailhead.
Looking forward to it.
Bring your Snuggies. Okay, the Scalar Workday.
Yeah, 17th?
17th, yeah, which is I think the next weekend, isn't it?
So, yeah, the weekend.
Right, yeah,
After.
7th, that's obviously the 10th plus 7 is next weekend.
You want,
Dumb question, sorry.
you want to do it at the same time, 9 o'clock?
That's fine, I think we're waiting for
Yeah.
Mike, Matt to know if we were gonna have
The auger?
the auger.
Yeah. Did you hear anything from him?
I have not spoken to him
Yeah.
about it.
Where is he? Is he gone for a few days? or-
I don't know, I was
Okay.
planning on seeing him tonight.
Our Eagle Scout is not going before the town council until November 15th, I think it is.
November 15th,
Mhm.
So this is the 17th.
so he'll have 2 days.
Yeah, so he could still get his holes dug if he wanted. maybe.
He'll have 2 days to give us the dimensions of where he wants the holes and.
Yeah, and do that way, and we can mark the spot for him and everything.
Yeah, if he's gonna do that, which is fine, I would recommend that he get us some sonotube or something too.
Somewhat.
Some sonotube.
Cardboard
The cardboard
for
hole,
cement.
you put them in the hole and you pour cement inside.
You
Okay.
should spell it for
Just SOL.
It's SONOTUBE.
SONOTUBE.
Yeah,
TUBE.
it's two is.
Okay.
If you walk into Home Depot and go way over to the left,
I'm not getting it.
you can just go see what it is. You can go walk way over to the left and walk up that last aisle on the left. There's all the concrete
Is it
stuff. over there.
cardboard?
It kind of.
It's usually a wax impregnated cardboard, so
Oh, okay.
it stays relatively,
Okay,
it survives the outdoors a little bit.
okay.
It's, after a while, it tends to break down, but for a couple rainstorms, it's usually pretty good.
Okay.
Keeps the concrete together as it dries.
Right.
Okay.
So you want to just make it for that date, and if for some reason Matt cannot get the auger, then, well, I would think.
Yeah, I think we were pretty much already settled on that day, didn't you?
What day is it again?
17th?
So on that date,
Okay.
can someone draw up a map and say where they want all the rocks to be placed?
We could do that while we're there, right?
Yeah,
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 Okay.
I'm not sure I can make it on the 17th, so.
yeah.
So that brings up a good point. Is we've had, a couple emails looking, where we're gonna place those
Mhm.
rocks. I'm concerned about trying to place them right where we know the trailheads are, because I just think that's gonna make people go just on the other side of them. You know what I mean? I mean, I almost like to just start at the end and just start building them as we go. I don't know, I'm just,
I don't think we have nearly enough.
yeah,
to
we
do
don't, I know we don't, but I just, if we have one trail and we put one rock in front of it,
They'll go around it.
I just think that, in a week's time, there's gonna be a trail now on either side of it. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah, we have to come up with a plan while we're there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just take a look at it and see what you think is doable.
focus, you can say, basically focus on one section, making sure we
Right.
block it off well.
Yeah, I mean, because it at least will, if we block off a section, you know, with whatever what we have, instead of, you know, kind of haphazardly placing them around, at least a little bit of a message, okay, we're addressing this, and it's because of you.
I think we should concentrate closer to the river, myself, ecologically speaking, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the thing, we'll have to,
Yeah.
we can walk it down real quick, and it should be a little easier to see around there, because we've lost quite a bit of leaves here in this last little rainstorm.
Yeah. So you wanna make that 9 AM too?
I am, sure.
Meet,
And, if, I suppose we should meet right there at that head.
by the
Right
Eagles,
by
Flying
the
Eagles?
yeah,
Wanna
Flying
meet
Eagles.
at a
I wouldn't
Flying
use their
Eagle?
parking lot, but we can park just outside of it.
Okay.
I can't make it that day.
I don't know if we need any help, but if we think we need help, I could contact them.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna need,
Yeah.
I mean, if
We
we,
have an
especially,
auger.
if we have an auger and we have a couple posts, I mean, it's not like you're gonna be able to be,
All right.
you know, putting a post and drilling a hole is gonna
Yeah.
be,
What I'll do is I'll just
Yeah.
email them and tell them we're doing that.
right. Yep,
And Mark Todarski, he just asked me to also tell him.
right, okay.
Yeah, I'll just tell them. I won't like ask for their help or anything. I'll just tell
Yeah,
them.
just tell them what we're doing, and,
Yeah.
you know, they're certainly welcome to, you know, if they wanna come hang around in the cold with us, that's, feel free. But it's, we're not really, I don't think we're really looking for a lot of help
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, we don't really need it. So they were ready to move the rocks like at any time now, like, or it can be done in the spring or anytime we want? Or,
I guess we just have to let Kyle know when we're ready,
Yeah.
and I think that it sounds like they'll move them pretty quick when we need to.
okay.
That's pending the next, we get a snowstorm, the snow hits early, and I think
Yeah.
we're waiting till spring.
What I think would be nice is to be able to give them some sort of a map and say, this is where we would like you to concentrate first, or phase 1 or phase 2, and
Right.
depending on how many viable rocks they find, they can either complete 1 or 2 or 3 phases of what we want.
Yeah.
And if they need someone to go down and show them, based on the map, one of us would have to do that, but ideally, we make it clear enough so they can just go to work. And then they'll just fit it in their schedule, so. Because the rocks aren't going anywhere, so.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Jim is happy he doesn't have to haul them out.
I think we should definitely notify the police when we put the signs in.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
We should notify the police when we put the signs in.
Yeah, yeah.
We did last time. We actually, you wrote up that, not you, yeah, it was you that wrote that up, right?
I wrote something up, yeah,
Yeah.
but I asked you if we wanted to send this, but we never sent it. I don't think.
Oh, I think so. It's in my sent, it's in my
Okay.
sent,
All right,
it's in my sent mail.
okay.
I was looking at it the other day, I was
Maybe-
like, well, I didn't write that.
Yeah, I did, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know you sent it. All right.
All right, so. We'll catch up with Matt about the auger. I can't say his name.
Oh, sit in,
Sidant?
sit in,
Sidant.
Is it him?
sit in.
If he goes before, town council and gets approval, and, there's no reason we can't put those holes in for him.
Okay.
So we need to know, we just wanna know we need to know his dimensions, and if he can,
Plus, he'll know exactly where to put it.
yeah. We'll probably have to coordinate with him a little bit, regarding the size of the hole, cause if, we have a 9-inch auger and he buys 12-inch sonotube, then that's not gonna work out very well, cause I'm not hand digging that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a kiosk. It
Yeah.
doesn't need a,
Well, he was thinking of trying to put attaching a bench to it and stuff, so
Yeah.
it might,
Should he be there? Can he be there?
certainly he can.
Okay.
I mean, if,
So let's do this. I'm gonna send him an email, probably tomorrow morning,
yep,
tomorrow afternoon. And I'm gonna have him respond to all of us. And then we can get a conversation going.
okay.
So, right, and that way if I can
Um,
get anything done.
We need to have him have a single point of contact, because if we start a conversation, now we're having a meeting.
Okay. Oh, good point. Okay.
So I'd like to not have,
So I will have him respond to me.
Yep.
And if I have questions, I will ask you,
Sure.
Guy, and I'm going to copy you on that memo.
okay.
I'm gonna copy the Conservation
For the
Commission.
public, this is an Eagle Scout project.
Okay.
Okay.
So what size? So how many holes should there be? 2, 4?
I don't know,
Kiosk.
is kiosk, if, we have kiosks in town that have, you know, six legs, and we have some that have 2.
That's like an
Okay?
ant. A lot of legs. What size sonnet?
So we have ant-like kiosks and human-like kiosks.
Okay.
How's that?
As long as we don't have any spider-sized
Yeah,
kiosks.
I know, that'd be a big kiosk.
Yeah, so his plans are,
I will ask him.
you know, that's gonna be the driver as to how many holes we need to dig.
I
So,
will ask him.
whatever he wants to do.
Sounds good.
Yep. All right, subcommittee updates. Let's go first.
Nope, I can.
Meeting? Okay, you know.
We did. The Horse Hill Nature Preserve had a meeting. We've elected the officers for another year, so Peter Malikovic, I don't think that's how, pronouncing that correctly?
I think it's Milikacek.
Malikacek?
I don't know.
Yeah, Peter.
Peter.
We all know Peter.
Peter M.
Was elected for chair again for another year. We appreciate him doing that. And Bruce Peterson is now the vice chair. So we didn't have a vice chair for a year, but
good.
now we do have another vice chair, which is good. So we appreciate their help with everything. We heard from the Girl Scouts, but they don't have any. I mean, they're working on, you know, the walking sticks. I don't think they meet that often, but so it's progressing. But I don't have a time frame yet for that. The Spalding Foundation, there was some work done on that, but nobody seems to know who did it. We didn't know if the town had done anything, some maintenance work. They haven't mowed, which is another question. We were hoping that they were gonna mow it, but there was other work done, but
Like what?
nobody knows who did it. Just,
They didn't mow it. What else could they do? Because you could barely get in there.
I know, well, around, just around the outside, cleaning up and things, but.
They mow around the outside?
No, it wasn't mowing, it was more of, I think cleaning up debris. But we don't know who did it.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, but we didn't know if the town did it.
No.
That was kind of the question,
What was
but,
there?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen the site myself, but they just said there was some work done around it. But it wasn't mowed.
Peter and I,
That's what
because
we're hoping.
Peter and I were the last ones to mow it,
Yeah,
and
it hasn't been
You know,
mowed since
we-
then.
we cleaned up a lot of what was left around it. We hauled off. So
Well, this was more recent,
I'm just saying, if you're saying
because Peter didn't know who did it.
you're saying there's debris, I was curious. Is there we've been having visitors out there? Is there
Oh.
is there that type of debris, or is it just like fallen?
No,
trees?
just natural.
Okay.
Yeah, natural debris, sorry.
Alright.
Where is this again?
The Spalding Foundation.
Okay.
In Horse Hill.
He's like, yeah, that's nice.
What?
It's in Horse Hill.
It's
Okay.
in
Yeah.
Horse Hill. There's an old, it's a cellar
Cellar
hole.
hole, yeah.
It's an old cellar hole, and there's a fence, a nice, that was a scout project. They put a fence, a split rail fence around it. And there's a plaque out there on the rock that just kind of explains what it is.
I've been through Horse Hill and I've never seen it.
Really?
It's right off the power lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you
It's on the east side
East-
of the
yeah, if you-
property.
if you came down like the old Kings Highway and it
Okay.
meets up with the power line trail,
Yeah.
you walk down the power line trail just a little bit and back into the woods. It's right there. The spelling,
Okay.
it's right off that section.
I have to check it out.
Should be on the map.
When I did the chapter 111 thing, I found the 1912 deed signed by Mr. Spalding.
Oh, wow.
How do you spell his name?
Spalding. There is no U.
No,
Mm.
we got it right on the plaque.
That's important.
It was a handwritten.
I don't wanna have to chip that thing off, man. That was a son of a gun, put that on.
Oh, that's history anyway.
That's right.
Nice one, Mike.
All right.
So anyway, we just wanna make sure, I guess, that the town still has the mowing on the list if they, get around to
They
it.
have a list of
Okay.
areas that we've requested to have mowed.
Yep.
And
It's
it's
on there.
not,
I know time permitting and stuff is,
Okay.
right.
I can tell you that as of 2 days ago, it was mowed.
Really? Oh,
I run those trails.
oh, okay. Oh, nice.
It was all overgrown, you're right.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's good to know. Okay, so maybe our mystery maintenance person, we will thank you, whoever you are, and keep up.
I can reach back out to DPW again and ask them if, we say, hey, if that was you, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe at least we'll
Right.
get a response.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. For the maps, so
Yeah, maps.
I guess, we were asking people to return the maps, and they were just kind of shoving them in the mailbox, so it wasn't closing, so things were getting wet. So, I think Matt had suggested it before, having a whole separate mailbox, so I think that's what we're gonna have to do. One place to return them, and I can pull them out and, see if they're reusable, versus having people shove them back in the.
So last meeting you said they were out of maps, right? Or
Well,
close?
I don't have any more maps. I've distributed them. So it's the Amherst one that goes so quickly. So I expect that I'll probably get a call soon to say, I need more maps, for the Amherst Road kiosk.
What was that last order, 1,500?
I think it was
It was
1,000.
1,000. I think it was
Yeah,
1,000.
it was 1,000.
So how much is too much? How many of these do you just keep printing?
Forest Hills seems like it's infinite.
Yeah.
Right now, but just wait till Greater Woods gets up and running. You're gonna be going through maps like crazy too.
We already do. We already go through a lot, but.
Now, I know we talked, last time we talked about, I had mentioned, one of those codes.
The QR codes, yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know why we just don't do that, put that right up on all our areas where we have trails, so that people can just use their phones. I mean, in this day and age,
Everybody use it.
you wouldn't, I think a lot of people would use that instead of picking up the paper.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that too, putting it up there. We tried it out. Actually, Tim had an app that he was, oh no, it was the other Tim, that pulled it up, but the post numbers weren't on the map.
Yeah.
So,
It's still better than nothing, so.
oh
Right,
yeah, definitely.
Well, and
That
when-
was just a
and
question.
If you can look at them, you can look at them in a stagnant form, and you have to learn how to remap, but you can also download that Esri app, and you can
Right.
navigate on the map.
Yeah, I've tried
as
that.
to
That's
where
good.
you-
I
where
like that
you are.
one.
This is where
Yeah.
you are, right here.
That
Whether
one's
you need a
good.
post number or not, it doesn't matter, you are here.
Right.
Is it worthwhile making up some small metal signs and kind of blazing, along the way, so that if people are lost, then they can be like, oh, look, there's the reminder of, pull up the Esri map, you'll see where you are. Is that worthwhile? I mean, it
So they
would
could,
cost
they
money.
could scan it out in the woods? you mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Almost like, are you lost? Do this.
Mhm.
Use your phone, because I don't know too many people that are gonna walk in the woods without their phone, especially if you're under 60. Everybody's got a phone.
It's me.
Do you? Well, you don't get lost.
Yeah.
It's the last place I want to take a phone call.
No, it's, well, okay.
You don't want to check your email or
Nope.
anything?
Yeah, right. That's what silent mode is for.
That's what my bureau is for.
Yeah.
Well, you're a little different because you know these trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's stuff we can look at.
Okay.
Putting up a QR code, some type of metallized QR code. I don't know. We have to look into how that would work, because I've only seen those as black and white.
Just
I don't know.
laminated.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, but I mean, it's,
well, I guess you can just make a copy of it. Like I filed tax returns before where it says use this original, page. And it has like the barcode, so that you can't make a copy of it or it won't work correctly, so. I don't wanna put something up and then it not have it work correctly, and I'm not familiar with these. I don't have the app on my phone, so.
We did that initially. I copied all of them and tried them, and they all worked. But
Okay.
that was,
Oh, okay, you made a copy.
yeah, we made a copy of the QR
And it
code just to
was
try,
okay. Yeah.
just for that purpose. So, yep, okay, it still works.
Oh, okay,
Just to,
good.
hopefully it was enough.
Okay.
If you're looking like the 309 barcodes type thing, those line widths and stuff are
Yeah.
very important to one another when that runs, so that
Oh,
might be
okay,
why
that's why yeah,
the QR code kind of
The
sizes
return.
itself appropriately seemingly when it gets on a copier.
okay,
So that might be part of the issue.
Good.
All right,
okay.
what are the subcommittees that you guys meet?
Yep, Wildcat Falls had a subcommittee meeting on Tuesday, October 23rd. And one of the things that we discussed under winter activities, and I'm not sure how the logistics would play out, is a full moon snowshoe hike in January or February. But the problem is, we can't park there, can we?
Not at night.
No.
Nope.
However, can
Where
we
is this?
park at
Wildcat
Wildcat
Falls.
Falls? Can we park
Closed from dawn
at
to dusk.
Watson or the
Dusk to
high
dawn.
school? Can we park at Watson or the high school and go in that way?
Well, not at Watson.
Okay, how about the high
Because
school?
there's no bridge yet.
Right, how
Right.
about the high school?
You have to park at the high school.
Even if this is an organized event sponsored by the Conservation Commission, we couldn't have an exception to that and notify the police that we'd be doing it that night?
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a way around it, so to
Yeah.
speak. I don't
Yeah.
say way around it, that makes it sound like we're
Yeah,
trying to do something.
we would want to notify the neighborhood that we're doing it as well, so
Yeah.
therefore they're aware.
So if they see the folks,
The trouble is are you now encouraging people to go there at night?
yeah.
That's the argument you're gonna get, right?
Mhm.
Is it going to be so, because from what I understand, it's pretty overgrown if you're getting there from the high school. Is it gonna be too I mean, it's
Well,
winter,
so
so
going in
stuff will
from
be
the high
dead.
school, you can certainly do it, but you'd be crossing through the state land to get there.
Yeah, I mean, will that be a problem?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. So I can tell them that that is a possibility if they park at the high school.
Yeah, I don't know if the high school has any desires to know when people are using their facility.
The nice thing about that too is it's a lit parking lot.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the,
I know it's been my experience that as long as, when the Parks and Rec, they'll park sometimes at Wasserman Park, and they go on a trip. They'll let us know, those cars are gonna be there for a night or two,
Yeah.
so that, when the police are cruising around, they see those vehicles, all right, yeah, that's right, those folks are.
do you have any thoughts as to the amount of people?
I don't think it's gonna be that many. It's gonna be January or February, it's
Right.
gonna be nighttime,
Yeah, it'll be,
Not everybody has snowshoes. How many people would come to your day snowshoe walks?
well, we actually never ran it because the snow didn't cooperate.
Okay.
But I think we had less than 10 people, so.
But think of the snowshoe race we used to have in Horse Hill. There was a lot of people there who
Right.
showed up for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing if they
That
got,
was also, people that try to run in snowshoes in the winter, so.
yeah.
it's kind of
I'm guessing if we had 15 to 20 people, that would be a lot,
Yeah,
you know?
probably.
Because I was just thinking, not incur a lot of expense, but maybe you have like a shuttle. Some local's got a bus or something like that. You could pick people up and have them park at the school and just drive over to that one entrance, drop them off and come pick them back up.
Well, yeah.
I don't know, it's something,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do that.
Yeah, I still think, though, that we need to alert people that there'll be people inside the property.
it's closed.
It is-
I think that, police department would be more than happy to use their Facebook and Nixle to let folks know in that neighborhood. I don't see why they wouldn't, I'd ask for that. I don't think we need to overcomplicate it with shuttling people.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'll let them know that they can proceed then if they want to. Andrew was talking about planning this.
Okay.
So,
Is-
Um,
You said just January, February timeframe?
He said January, February, I think they need to see how the, I mean, they're gonna need to plan it possibly with, January, and if there's no snow, we'll move it to February. You have to plan it with a full moon, so, because otherwise you can't see.
Got a limited timeframe, that's a good point.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, because we are also trying to do some type of winter daylight, winter walk in Greater Woods with Jeff Littleton, who's, we have that already on the books this year too.
Okay, do you know when that's going to be?
No.
Okay.
Tracking, it'd be great for tracks.
Right. Yeah, he's the transit that we set up, that's part of what he's planning on doing, so.
Okay.
That's part of the project that he's doing for us right now, is that's rolled into that project.
Okay. Karen specifically asked me to thank you for setting up the bird, seminar and
I'm
walk.
glad you liked it.
Couple of things about the parking lot. So, it's read up again, and we were asking about funding for the parking lot resurfacing. So they were curious, where does the money come from for resurfacing that parking lot? And they want to know if Wildcat Falls can be on the DPW's early spring project list as the parking lot gets really bad in the spring because of all the mud.
So the only thing we had planned for that parking lot was reground. So,
Reground resurfacing.
right, same thing, basically same thing we did at Orso.
Right.
And it's okay with the water right there? Like, I know there's blueberry bushes, the water's right there.
Yeah, it's pavement, I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about pavement, that
Yeah.
road's right there, so,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal for that.
right. But that requires us to be having a road project going on in town.
Right. Yeah, so that material gets generated as we redo roadways, so.
All right, so is there any way that we can talk to DPW and ask to be put on their list, or
We have.
we're already on their list?
Supposedly, we're already on their list.
We are on their list.
I've spoken to Kyle directly about it, and he's like, when we have projects in that area, we'll do it
How long ago was this, Gage?
this summer.
Okay.
So we can make another formal request and make sure we're still on their list, and that's easy enough.
Okay, so another thing that they asked about was, because the parking is so jammed in there now, so they were talking about whether or not there would be any way to get another 6 feet in that parking lot, if there was any way to go one way or another. Stop laughing at me, you.
No, oh my God, do you remember the hoopla about building that parking lot
I
initially?
don't, because I wasn't here at the time. Because
can't
that way they would be able to let cars parallel park on the other side. So the question
You want
is,
6 feet of width.
we want, well, right now, is figure the part, you
Well,
drive in
it's
and the
long
parking
and
lot's
skinny, so they
like
want it
this.
more like a square.
They want it they want 6 feet wider. So that
Yeah,
cars
more
can.
like a square.
I bet that backside is close to pretty much as close to the water as can get, really.
Right, the roadway in is as close to the water as you can go.
So the only
There's a
place to
lot of water.
get, the only place to get 6 feet is to push that whole berm.
Is to push it closer to the neighbors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's not gonna fly?
That's gonna be a tough one.
Well, I'm not necessarily a voting member of the commission, but I would vote, I'd be opposed to it.
Yeah, you are today.
You are tonight.
Yeah, you are tonight.
I would be opposed to expanding the parking lot.
So
I
no
think-
expanding the parking lot.
I think we have to learn to live with what we have, and when Watson Park comes online, that'll be the second access to the property.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
That'd be
about
my
your-
opinion.
About your opposition?
Yeah.
Are you opposed to making that parking lot bigger, or are you opposed to pushing that lot closer to the residents? I mean, are you concerned about the size of that lot, or just its proximity to the houses?
Well, I'm concerned to the proximity to the neighbors,
Alright,
yes.
So you're not,
abutters.
so if the lot could be bigger without getting closer to the neighbors, you're not opposed to it?
I'd be open to look at it.
Okay. So, all right. Just want to make sure that we're
Mhm.
thinking the same.
I saw that email of Horse Hill with the pictures. Somebody wasn't happy about the parking lot a while back.
So that happens all the time, but people park out in the street, you mean?
Well, it's just, someone wasn't happy about the parking lot expansion.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay, so we know
So-
that.
So, just, so you know, that parking lot was put in, 14 years ago?
No, the parking
I mean,
lot was
the
put
parking
in,
lot's there,
it
but
was,
it
it
was-
was done in 2014, I believe, because it was a year after I left the council. So I believe it was in 14.
Yeah,
it
so that was
in.
put in, because the fire road, that's the fire road that goes all the way down the river.
Right.
They wanted that parking lot such that they could get a fire truck in there if there was cars in there.
Okay, so that's why you can't
So-
parallel park.
Well, the reason you can't parallel, I mean, if it was wide, if it was more of like a box, you could still get a fire truck down the center of it and get to the road,
Yeah.
right? But,
Well, cars are parallel parking in there,
so
so.
the parking lot was made bigger. There was police and fire went down there, a couple people went down there, and the parking lot was made bigger. It became a very large contentious issue that was made bigger. That's what went down that whole, building the fence in there or plantings all along there to stop headlights from shining in the it was a very, very contentious issue.
Okay.
So Tim's reservation, and I would hold the same way. Moving that berm
Mm-hmm,
closer to the homes right now,
Yeah.
no way.
okay,
I couldn't support it.
okay,
The lot's decent size.
Yeah. I mean, we'd have to go back and look potentially at that roadway. I don't believe we can make it wider on the other side, but,
okay,
we can investigate that.
okay.
So I'm not opposed to the lot being bigger. I'm opposed to having it go any closer to the residents.
Understood. Okay, so, next question is, we were talking about potential Eagle Scout projects, and again, we brought up the North Loop. I don't even think I'm gonna bring this part up here because Matt was involved with this one. We were talking about a bridge, and Matt said no bridge. Liz has a friend who's an engineer, and she wants them to come out and just look at the area. He'll do it for free, just to give some ideas. So let's let Liz do that, since she's doing it for free, and she'll come back and give us the ideas. The other area that they talked about was, if you go in through the access road to the sand pit, the dog beach is way down. They were talking about a possible viewing deck. That could be a possible Eagle Scout project. So do you know what I'm talking about?
A viewing what?
A viewing deck,
Is that the end of the road?
Duck? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Deck.
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 Is that,
Sorry,
Where-
sorry.
just go
Going
straight?
down that hill
They
to the
said,
dog
go in
beach?
through the, I haven't been down to this part. They said, go in through the access road to
Yeah.
the sand pit.
Yeah.
And the dog beach is way down below.
Yes.
And they're talking about whether or not, if we were looking for an Eagle Scout project, if a viewing deck would be possible, that we could ask an Eagle Scout to build a viewing deck there. Is that something that the commission would support?
I'm still not sure I know,
Okay,
because I'm thinking, especially when you're out on the rock, you're looking down at the dog beach,
mm-hmm,
they wanna, you're already out on the rock.
The rock overlooking the falls?
Yeah. Where everyone's not supposed to jump.
okay, where everybody's not supposed to jump.
But you're back there, you're looking right down at the dog beach. I mean, where else, unless you're talking about going down that hill towards the dog beach, and now you'd just be looking,
Okay,
you'd be looking at the same,
I
to
will.
me.
I guess the question is where exactly?
Okay,
Right?
so I will, she said she was gonna send me a picture, so if I have the picture, I'll print it out for everybody, and then,
It just seems like you've already got a viewing location
right,
right there.
the
I mean,
rock.
it looks like from how you described it to me, you're, 35, 40 feet to the side, you're gonna
Okay.
build another one.
All right, so I will get some more specifics on that.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's gonna build anything until the spring anyway, so, okay, sounds good. And our next meeting, we set up all the meetings, so our next meeting for the Wildcat Conservation Commission will be January 22nd, and we set a second one up for April 2nd. May 21st will be our outdoor meeting, Trail Day cleanup. So they were going to let Sharon know about that. I'll make sure, or I'll let Sharon know about it.
And if you send the dates to me, I'll put them on our calendar.
Sure. And that's it for me.
Okay, since Matt's not here, the Greater Woods Subcommittee, we had, I don't think we've had a meeting since our last meeting. Trying to think how long ago that was. So our last one was our outdoor meeting and we discussed it here, so I don't think that Greater Woods didn't have a meeting since the last one. So, subcommittee, other, subcommittee issues, when do we wanna start looking at forming, officially, looking for folks for yours? I'm gonna call it your subcommittee. And for yours.
I kinda tried already.
Well, that's the same, I don't think we formalized a subcommittee for
So
Scholar.
for Fields Farm, we have a
We
formal.
have a formal charter and everything,
Right,
so
yeah, that's all set up.
it can go anytime.
Anytime. We just have to have enough critical mass to
Yeah.
get it started. So,
Well, the boat launch might be an interesting project to start it with, get people involved in that. Be right from the get-go.
yeah, we had a couple of members of the public who had some interest.
Yeah.
And I've spoke to some of my neighbors who have an interest, but until the property,
Until it turns over.
till it turns over, I don't think any of them are gonna
Okay.
get involved. So,
We didn't formalize the Scholar subcommittee.
Yeah, I mean.
we would need to charter
I
it.
only know of 2 people who would be interested. And I guess it would be I don't know, it would be a temporary
3, you
basis.
count.
Huh?
3, you count.
Okay, 3. What do you need, 5?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
We can always go through the act of creating it and chartering it, and then do a formal call for people.
Yeah. I mean, not that we need to really, we can
Well,
advertise it.
Once we have a kiosk, we have a place to advertise, right?
Yeah. I mean, we may end up getting a flying eagle guy down there that would like to be part of that, and, I mean,
Yeah, I've asked them
Yeah.
already. Got no response.
yeah, once they see some
Yeah,
activity, they may,
they might.
and they seemed like they were pretty happy about us being down there, so,
They helped out a lot.
yeah, they did. All right, old other business, I sent, out to everyone, Mike, you printed out that map, that GZA map. That's a first pass. I don't know if anyone has some comments or anything they'd like me to take back. Yes,
Pretty.
Colors, yeah.
pretty.
There goes our ink.
Yeah, there goes our ink bill. I didn't know if anyone had some comments or questions about it. I mean, I had some comments. I actually saw Tracy this weekend, so we talked very briefly about it, but,
So, they're ranked 1 to 20? Is how,
yes,
okay, it's like priority, like number 1's
lowest.
the lowest. I
20 is
thought-
the highest.
Oh, all right. I thought it was the other way around. That's why I'm asking.
I think they comment about it in the print in the bottom.
Mm.
But they talk about the ranking system and what it was, how it's set up. So I have some questions about regarding, these are 1 to 20, great, these are the properties. What can we do with them? What are we trying to,
So 17 is like the donut hole, right? 20,
that's what I'm saying, so I mean, are the options here, well, this would be the good property to purchase, this would be a good reclamation property, this is, and I'm sure there's gonna be more than that map, that was just something for her to give us, but,
20, is that like where's that? Is that by the covered bridge or something?
oh, on Stowell Road?
Yeah, where's that?
It's up, that's up by Steve. That's his area. I don't know, it's tough to look at it like this, you need to be able to zoom in and get the roads on here, you can't see the roads. Do we have the version of the 111 properties? Do we have is that list been updated at all, or is the numbered list that I have, the latest.
Well, yeah, we're working on the same list. The list hasn't changed.
Because I'd almost like to send that to GZA, so they know which, you know, because this seems pretty up to date, but it would be nice to see, I don't know, see if there's some way to correlate that data with what.
I have a question that's kind of directed towards the town council. Like, if we came up with a property that we thought was really important, and I know you've commented that the town council thinks we have enough properties. I mean, but if we had, like, the donut hole, or a property right in the middle of Greater Woods that would complete that, you know, I mean, how open would the town council be to letting us, you know, go?
Like, I know, I'll speak for myself right now, but I think, but also knowing the folks on the council, I don't think when we kind of talked about that in our retreat, I guess I know I am open to hear anything. But our inclination at this time was, we felt like there was enough property to be managed, within town. But, you know, absolutely, I think if something came up, and the commission itself felt this was a valuable property, I think it's important that it should be heard by the council, and why it's a valuable piece. So I would say, yeah, I think it's, you know, I think the council would definitely be willing to hear it. I know I would.
Yeah, because there's still properties on the master plan, the town master plan list, identified in the master plan that we're still pursuing. And there, you know, that master plan was accepted by, you know, by everybody, so.
Yeah, I know, like, there was a couple of properties that we kind of, you know, we mentioned, but it was like,
Yeah.
you had to kind of be able to make an offer or something. And, you know, sometimes you have time and sometimes you don't, you know, and obviously we need time if we're gonna make an offer on something.
And I, you know, I don't, me personally, as one counselor, I mean, I don't think that was kind of a marching orders to say, don't stop looking at properties. I mean, I think we're always open to, you know, if something comes up, then, hey, let's hear about it, let's see. Let's be open about it, be open-minded, I guess.
Good. Thank you.
Well, if anyone has any comments they'd like me to take back to GZA, I'd be, you know, please send them to me, and I will, try to keep that going, so we can, and I think it was a great first pass, as far as I was concerned. I was, you know, we asked for a top 10 list, they gave us a top 20, so can't be too angry about that, so. All right. Anybody else have any other business to discuss?
You sent us comments about the budget.
Oh, yeah, I did. I didn't print it out. Everyone saw that. We have, obviously, we have some budget with the town. We don't have a large budget with town, but it's, you know, $5,000, so that covers our operating expenses, you know, paper, work, you know, supplies for community development, things we ask for. Covers dues and fees, the classes. We just took the NHACC classes are covered under that. But other than that, we don't really have much of a budget with the town. So Jim Thompson sent me that list, and that's why I forwarded out to everybody, was the line items. I think the NHACC registration went up a little bit this year. It was marked as $800, something like that, so I'm gonna get them the right figure for that, but that's, other than that, there's really not a whole else on there that was surprising or new, so I don't know if.
Yeah, well, there's nothing new. Some of these items are under the conservation section of the town budget simply because they kind of logically fit under conservation, but we really don't do anything with them.
Right.
Like the Lay Lake monitoring, that's for Babusick Lake, and we really have nothing to do with that.
Right.
And that's the largest budget item out of $5,000. That's almost $1,700. So if the town chooses to pay for that, they can go right ahead, but we have no interaction with them. We don't we ourselves don't look at that, the output of those reports, which are now online. They used to not even deliver them to the town. And I got it into the director's head that said, if we're giving you over $1,000 every year, you should at least give us a copy of the report you're generating.
Really?
So
And
now,
there's
now they're all online, so,
And there is no public access from Merrimack to Babusick Lake.
no, but there are, I mean, we have residents on it, so.
Yeah.
So if the town chooses to continue to pay for that, I don't have a problem with it, but I don't think it should be considered a program that we sponsor, because we don't. We do nothing
Okay.
for it, so.
When we see, I'm gonna have Tim remove it from our list, and have its own line item somewhere, its own budget item somewhere.
I don't think there's a problem with where it is. I just think
Just
we
recognize it, that it's.
recognize that that's not something that we advocate for, or maybe at one point it was advocated by the Conservation Commission, but that's a long time ago, so. I think that and the Sauhegan River water quality testing, I mean, that's something that we do see all the results for, and yes, it tells you when you can swim at Watson Beach or in Watson Park or not. But that's also a program that we really have nothing to do with, so.
And that, you're talking about Watson,
Yeah, Watson.
and that's not something that the town is, we don't recognize that as a beach.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
so.
Good choice.
It's the Merrimack Riviera.
Good choice.
Yeah,
So,
and yeah, there's a lot of reason for that.
Yeah.
so, another one that we don't really see a whole lot from is the Merrimack River Watershed Council. You can get on their email list. You know. So, I'm not opposed to any of these, I just don't want people to think that it's the Conservation Commission who wants all this, because we don't actively take a role or a position on any of them, so. We do need office supplies to support our meetings. We do have a website that the town covers the hosting for, which is good. We do participate in the Association of Conservation Commissions. We do have a line item for printing maps, but I'm not sure we've actually used any of those dollars.
Yeah, so no, we haven't, we've gone on a 53 every time.
So,
But I think that was a new one that we put in there.
Yeah.
Just
to cover,
to cover that.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
We added that, I don't know if it was in the last year or, I don't know.
So,
We're adding it.
so having them here as a place in the budget, I don't have an issue with. I just wanna make sure that we all hear and you're aware that some of these items are just there because they kinda logically fit there. That's not necessarily the commission saying that we support them. So if the town council wanted to remove some of these things, we would not know the difference.
I'll leave that one right there.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay.
Any other business? Any other business? Any more other business? No? Okay. Meeting minutes, October 15th.
I move to approve the Merrimack Conservation Commission minutes for October 15th, 2018, with changes as follows.
Okay, go ahead, Gina.
On
No, go ahead. Yep.
on page 2, line 29, I would say storms will be infiltrated back into the ground. Right now it says storms will infiltrated back into the ground. So just add the word be between will and infiltrated. On page 3, line 30, capitalized commission. On page 4, line 43, capitalized scout. That's it.
Still didn't capitalize it, even after all the corrections from last week.
I have one correction.
Oh.
Uh,
Yeah, I did.
Page 4, line 16. I believe that was November, not October
Yes,
17th.
you're right.
Okay. Anybody else? Pete? Mike? Tim? No? Good. All right. We have a motion by Cindy, second by, or motion by Gina, second by Cindy. All those in favor? Passes 6-7-0-0. And with Matt being absent, Tim Tenhave is, our alternate is voting tonight. Okay, public comment. Now's your chance.
Thanks for accommodating me.
Come back
It's
anytime.
interesting to see how the sausage is made. I use the properties pretty much every day. I rotate around.
I'm sorry, if you would come up and sign in real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Because we're supposed to, if you're going to speak, we'd like to have your name and know who you are.
I didn't really prepare anything to
No,
say.
that's
I
all
just
right.
kind
Just-
of wanted to observe.
That's fine.
I had seen there were some openings for alternates, and I kind of wanted to get a taste of just how exciting it was for myself.
It's super exciting.
Well, it's a perfect example. When we're a 7-member commission, obviously we're missing one person tonight, so Tim is our alternate and is a voting member when we're below 7.
Sure.
So.
And do most of you have backgrounds in natural resources or in conservation or anything like that? No.
No.
Just
Nope.
just a public interest?
Right.
Yeah, grew up in this town, and it's my way of giving back.
Sure.
We have a lot of subcommittees too that need people, and we're starting up some subcommittees, so.
Yeah, I stalked the website a little bit, and I was learning some stuff about the Fields Farm property. I grew up near there too, so I'm familiar with nearly everything you guys were talking about already.
We're,
Yeah.
I like to be prepared and know what I'm walking into.
well, that property is about to get a little bigger.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the neighborhood that's being built there, the surrounding property is going to be donated to us. So that's what we were talking about, when the property changes over, that's gonna be when we're probably at the best time to kick off that subcommittee. The nice thing about the subcommittees is they're a little less administrative than this, you get to do more,
Sure, yeah.
and, so.
Yeah, when I envisioned it, I think a lot of us maybe got a little more politically minded or civic minded a couple of years ago, perhaps, due to some unexplained event. So, you know, I was thinking about that stuff myself, and I found myself using the trails and the properties, and I said, you know, I don't even know who's making the decisions about these things, but I really enjoy them, and I've got a decent head on my shoulders, so maybe I ought to see what that entails.
Great.
And then I happened to see Ray Brewer on Grow It Green
Yep.
pitching that natural resource class in Portsmouth, so I've been doing that. So I understand like wetland identification, and we've got kind of a shallow dive into a number of topics. It's been real interesting.
Come back, come back.
Yeah.
You got space.
You know, and to address your political comment too, pretty diverse group here
Is it?
politically,
Yes.
I would say.
Absolutely.
I don't, you know, you're gonna get a pretty wide variety of opinions on what's going on, and
I think that's healthy.
well, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
without fail, I love working with all you guys. So this has been just a great commission to be part of.
Oh, good.
So.
And if you're at the polls at St. John Newman tomorrow, I will see you. I'll be there at 6:30 checking people in. Well, you won't be there till
That's right.
7.
Get out and vote tomorrow. That's an
We don't
important.
vote tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gina, for reminding
The
us.
commission, but the polls should be open.
Good.
a little
Thank you
Well,
for
the
coming.
polls are
Thank you
open
for
at
coming.
7.
Thanks for having
but
me
I
again.
can do 6:30.
It's probably a little awkward just having somebody stare at you.
Not
That's
at
all
all.
right. Okay.
We're on camera.
You know, that's right.
That's right.
That's how I
We're being
started.
stared
I started coming to the meetings and I was coming to every meeting and Gage is like, why don't you just join? You're coming to every meeting, so just join, you know, so.
It's every other week?
at. So we meet twice a month.
Twice a month, okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
and,
first and third Mondays typically. So,
So
If
like
you-
last month, we had 5 Mondays in the month, so we all got an extra day off. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Google Merrimack Conservation Commission and it will pull you up to our town page and then you can go on, you can see our list of agenda.
yeah.
right? You know, all the agendas and minutes and.
Yeah, I even watched an old video too. I think I know Matt from years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Does he
but-
work at Fidelity perhaps?
Yes,
Yes.
yep.
He does.
I think we started at the same time years ago and I moved on from there,
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Good guy.
yes.
Great.
Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thanks
Thank you.
All right, commissioner comments. Anybody? Please speak.
Steve and I attended, I think the seminar was called,
Introductions to
Yeah.
conservation commissions?
and, one, it was a great class.
Yep.
But, sitting there listening to the other commissioners from around the state talk about things, I gotta tell you, I think that our Conservation Commission is very well-run. You listen to, and it's integrated very well with all the town departments and the town council and so forth, because, boy, oh boy, I just heard a lot of comments.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a lot of dysfunction. And, you know, there was some
A lot
great
of
comments.
adversarial relationships seemingly.
Yeah, I mean, so we're lucky. This is a good group, and I'm finding that out as a first-year commissioner, but it was an eye-opener listening to some of that.
Sure.
That's what attracted me to this commission was, you know, because I went from the Kinder Morgan pipeline directly to here. And you guys were just such a cohesive group, worked really well together. And I said, I can handle that.
Okay.
No comment?
No, I had the same sentiment as Peter did when we went to this, you know, the GZA top 20 list. It was clear a lot of these towns don't have the resources to have a top 1 list put together, let alone a top 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any other highlights from the meeting you want to talk about?
I did the wetland identification one. I was
Yeah.
telling some of the members before
Good.
we started, and that was fantastic. Thank you. That was your recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, the gentleman that conducted it, he had a passion for
Yep.
Yeah, we told you
Yes.
he would be
Yeah.
going out there.
incredibly informative. I could never go out and do it right now, but at least I understand that, you know, the principles.
He will answer the phone. If you call him, he will answer the phone. He's great.
Mm.
Yeah. If he comes on, speaks down in Asheville every once in a while, and does, you know, projects and stuff. It's worthwhile just going down to, he's a fund of information.
Good, I'm glad, so you found it worthwhile then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Did you have a good lunch? Interesting lunch?
Eventually.
I didn't make.
Eventually.
I had other plans, I
Yeah.
had to move on after that, but,
Yeah.
the original keynote speaker, the professor
Yeah.
from BU, that was a great presentation.
Yes,
Mhm.
that was very good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cindy, you have anything?
Just to talk about, so one of the sessions I took was about the new wetlands rules. There's gonna be a lot of changes. They've been working on this project to standardize and streamline the wetland rules.
Is that a joke?
No, something like that.
No, no, actually, no, but, right, that's good. Um, there appears to be a lot of concern, at least in the class, that less items will be going through the Conservation Commission. So you will have to rely more on the town to let us know when things are going on, like we won't be signing off on things. But there's a lot in,
Can you give us a little bit of for instance on that? Just,
let's see, some of the things. So I was gonna go through, the slides,
right,
because they're gonna give you the slides, but they're not gonna be up for a month, or I'm sorry, for a week.
okay.
So once they're up, I'll let everybody know that the slides are up, so you can go through, because she had this is the old rules, these are the proposed new rules. So these are still proposed, and they're gonna have some more listening sessions, or comments, people can make comments. If nothing is changed, or even if with changes, these won't go into effect until April or later. But let me see if I try, you try to take notes as everything goes by.
I'm just kind of curious. I'm not.
Okay, the shoreline and shoreland applications are right now separate.
Yeah.
There's the change is that now they can be under one application instead of two different applications. Let's see. So the kind of reason for this is that so DES has more time to go out for field and do field work rather than just doing paperwork. Let's see.
They really feel it's going to cut down on the number of permits.
Well, or if they don't have to get the approval, like culvert maintenance, things like that. Something that they'll identify as a standard
Okay.
process won't have to get the level of reviews that it does now, so it'll flow through a lot quicker.
Okay.
But, let's see. Type.
That's all right. I was just kind of curious what you were
Yeah, I was trying to find one. I thought I had written down
for the slides.
the two, but it was kind of confusing, There's lots of rules. And they do have 4 new BMPs, best management practice techniques. So they had a copy of one. All 4 are on their website. So I haven't had a chance to go through this, but once I do, I'll pass it along and,
Was that a handout? Or did you buy that?
this was a handout.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had one. I know, that's why I grabbed one. They had one out of the 4. But, so like I said, I haven't had a chance to look through it yet, but once I do, then I'll.
Is that a publication or was it a handout for the class? Has it got a publication?
I don't know. I mean, you can download them from the website.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can just,
I'm just curious. No.
yeah, I don't know. But, and once these rules do go into place, they also ask for feedback of how the Conservation Commissions would like to be, notified. So I think they'll have, meetings or handouts once these go into effect so that everybody knows, what's happening.
Right.
So,
Just one other thing I wanted to talk about. I know that we're probably all aware, you've seen it either, the planning board touched upon it, they were supposed to have a meeting. LaMontagne and the Foster Family Trust are looking at developing property that borders like the wetlands over by Reed's Ferry School, Pearson Road, Page and Level Street, that section of land in there. There's a number of property or lots, and a lot of folks are concerned about the wetlands out that way, and I think that's something that this commission really needs to take a good close look at, as I would imagine they'll come to us and take a look. I mean, it's interesting when you look at the GIS map for the number of lots apparently approved, but some of them are right in the middle of water too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. So I guess I want to bring it up now because I know a lot of folks are concerned about that up in that area. I've heard from them. So, something for the commission to keep our eyes and ears open about.
There's a lot of beaver activity back there. There was in the past. That's one of the areas that we had, had a lot of work done.
Yeah, and, you know, all you do have to do is have to see, the weekend rain is to look around that property and see all the water sitting on it, you know, and so forth. But, they're gonna come before us, and you may hear about it from your fellow residents.
I've heard about it already. I got a couple friends that live over in that area, and they've been, hey.
Yeah, well, we did our whole wild beaver habitat and study, and that area just blew up as a big red flag in there
Yep.
for issues. So, because it has all the right factors that make it a wetland, so.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out how many lots would actually be buildable there, and I think that's why they pulled back from their original presentation with the planning board. I think they're trying to figure that out, and folks are posting on Facebook in the forum about tags, wetland tags, that they're seeing bordering their property and Cathy Street and around that area, so.
So this hasn't been approved yet, it's in the works.
I'm sorry?
This hasn't been approved yet, it's just in the works?
No.
Okay.
And years ago, Mr. Foster, who's now passed away, I guess he tried to move forward with that, and it stalled. I'm not sure the reasons why, but there are some folks who live down there in that area, Paige and stuff, I gotta talk with.
Thanks.
Do you have anything to say?
All set.
All right, I'm good.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Cindy, second by Gina. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 7-0-0 at 8:27.
See ya later.
Yeah.
I'm here at 7:01.
I think at lunch,
I don't know this for fact, Peter, but I've been told the reason it stalled is because of a lot of wetlands issues that were over there. And that was a while ago, and that's how severe it was then. So, and I've got some, I was over the North a number of years ago now. When you walk to the little viewing area that we have right here now, if you walk back on and back toward that neighborhood, there was a pond. I mean, there was a waist deep pond that was huge. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like I want to build a house here. And it's such a beautiful area.
And, you know, if you look originally, Cathy Street was supposed to come all the way across.
Yeah.
That whole wetland area connected them, you know. So, yeah, it was just, I live up at the top of the hill on Level Street, and a lot of folks, I mean, we have our own neighborhood group, and once that came out, I got a lot of messages. That said, hey, what's going on with this? But you know, I mean, tell folks, look at the GIS map, you can realize they can't possibly build all those.
We have, and I'll send it